What's going on, guys? So I took to Instagram and asked, what is the best smelling fall fragrance? Or fall fragrances? What are the best smelling fall fragrances? And I got a smorgasbord of answers. And certain ones stood out because they started getting repeatedly mentioned. And that's what I was looking for. The ones that get the most mentions are the ones that make these types of videos. I love doing this video format because it's 100% out of my choosing. If I have it, I show it. If I don't have it, I just show it on screen. But according to Instagram and everybody that weighed in, these are the 10 best smelling fragrances for fall. So let's talk about it. Stay tuned. Starting with one that I myself have not worn in quite some time. I ended up spraying my arm when I was gathering the fragrances. This is so good. Warm, powdery, smells a little bit like Play-Doh in the opening from the Angelica. Gets nice and powdery, a little spicy. We're talking about Prada Lunarosa Black. Like I said, I haven't wore this one in quite some time. I'm actually glad it got mentioned enough to make the video because it gave me an opportunity to spray it, smell it, and rekindle the love for this scent profile. This is such a great cooler weather fragrance, great for dates as well. I can't knock the choice. You know, it's a great fragrance that doesn't get talked about the way it used to, because there was a time when this was in a lot of fall season videos and date night videos, and you don't really see it too often anymore. It will pop up on occasion. It's still really freaking good, guys. This is kind of an underrated, best kept secret from Prada. Like I said, at one time, not so much of a secret, but these days, kind of is. I want to say it came out in 2018, maybe, somewhere around that. I don't remember exactly. My memory may not be serving me correctly, but so good. Like I said, I can't knock them for picking this one. I don't have them in any particular order, by the way. This is just how I happen to arrange them right here on the desk. But Prada Lunarosa Black, if you haven't tried it yet, you want kind of a unique amber experience that, like I said, you can't unhear this, but a little bit of a Play-Doh smell for those of you my age that used to play with Play-Doh as a kid. A little bit of an oddly attractive Play-Doh smell with the Angelica in the top, settles into this warm, dry, and powdery amber that is just gorgeous. My wife really enjoys this one. And according to Instagram, this is one of the best smelling fall fragrances, Prada Lunarosa Black. It made me very happy that this one got mentioned over and over because I totally agree. This is one of my favorite releases of last year. I love this fragrance. It's Azzaro's The Most Wanted. This is such a good fragrance. I really, really dig this one. I'd love for it to focus too. That would just be peachy. Come on. Oh well. It doesn't want to focus, but beautiful sweet toffee note, nice and warm and spicy. This is so beautiful. This is one that I bought at full retail. Did not wait for discounters. God, it's so good. Because I love this stuff. I blind bought it because I just assumed I would like it because I like the rest of the line. And it turns out it's my favorite. So, like I said, it made me very happy when this one got mentioned over and over as one of the best smelling fall fragrances because I completely agree. This is so good. I even like it more than the recently released Parfum flanker to this, the Most Wanted Parfum, which is really good. Not knocking it. It's a really good fragrance. But if I have to choose one, it's this one. I actually did a battle video between the two, and it comes down to personal preference. You may like the Parfum more. This is the ultimate version of the Wanted DNA for me personally. The sillage is pretty heavy without crazy heavy projection because the oil concentration's dialed up. It's more rich and robust. This one's just great in the cooler weather. Daytime, nighttime, doesn't matter. Fall season, winter season, moving up. This is really good stuff. You can't go wrong here. Totally agree with Instagram. The Most Wanted from Azzaro is definitely one of the best smelling fragrances for fall. Next, I only have a decant of this. I haven't gotten a bottle yet. Before this year ends, I will have a bottle though. I've been having one in my cart on eBay for a while now. I'm going to get it. I will. I agree. This is fantastic. We're talking about Jean-Paul Gaultier Lamal Le Parfum. So like I said, I just have a decant. Just a little bit left in there, you know. But I agree. Beautiful, beautiful iris. Powdery, warm, a little spicy. There's a creaminess. It's so good. Might be the ultimate Lamal flanker. You know, that would be hard to argue for a lot of people. There's so many Lamal flankers out there. I get it, but I don't know. None have captivated me the way this one has, and it might be because of that iris note, because I love a good iris fragrance, and this is a damn good one. So I wasn't surprised to see this one get mentioned. It's just unfortunate that at the recording of this, I don't have a bottle yet. I only have a decant, but it is some good stuff for sure. I totally agree with you guys. Better for the evenings, in my opinion, but cooler days, I don't see why you can't get away with this. As long as you like powdery iris, you'll probably enjoy this. It's not the waxy lipsticky type of Dior Homme. It's not the soapy Prada type, and it's not the earthy natural Florentine iris. It's kind of a soft, creamy, and powdery type of iris, kind of like the one you'll find in the Givenchy Gentleman line, for example, like Gentleman EDP Boisee, and so on. It's kind of like that type of iris. So if you've smelled those, you know what kind of iris note to expect with this warm, spicy, aromatic Lamal type of base DNA. Really good stuff. Definitely one of the best for fall is Lamal Le Parfum. Speaking of Givenchy Gentleman and that line, the Eau de Parfum Boisee was mentioned more than enough to make the video, and I agree. This is one that I've featured in a few videos recently. Warm, woody, spicy iris. Like I said, this is more that creamy, powdery iris than any of that waxy, lipsticky stuff or soapy or anything like that. Man, this is good. This is such a good fragrance. Great daytime fragrance. Works well in the evenings as also, but, you know, mild, cool days. If you're a fan of iris, this is one of the better designer iris fragrances to come out in some time. This stuff's really good. Don't hesitate to get your nose on this one. I couldn't agree with Instagram more because, like I said, I've featured this one in several videos recently because it's really, really good for the season. Not the best choice in the warmer weather. Definitely gears up more towards the cooler weather because it is on the denser, thicker, and creamier side. But, man, get your nose on this one if you haven't yet. If you like iris, just like with the last fragrance, this is absolutely worth trying. Good, good stuff. Givenchy Gentleman, Eau de Parfum Boisee. This is one that I personally prefer in the wintertime, but I can't knock the choice here because it is one of the best Roja Parfums fragrances. We're talking about Creation E Parfum Cologne. Now, we did have some Enigma votes, we did have some Creation E votes, and then we had both that said Parfum Cologne. I don't have the Parfum, so I couldn't really tell if they were completely wanting to talk about the Parfum or they meant this one. But I have this one, and this one's great. This one's a bit more airy and fresh than Enigma Parfum. It's got that Coke float, Dr. Pepper float type of smell. A lot of heliotrope here. Beautiful cognac note. Bright pop of effervescent benzoin. There's some sweetness. There's some tobacco. There's a lot going on. Warm and spicy, ambery. It's got a lot of phases and facets and nuances to the fragrance. Every time you wear it, you might get a few different things that you didn't get the last time you wore it. It's so good. It's so powerful. And it's on the more unique side. I haven't smelled anything exactly like this. It's such a good fragrance. This is a lot of people's favorite Roja Parfums fragrance. I mean, hell, there's a lot of Roja Parfums fragrances that could have been mentioned here, and a few others were, don't get me wrong, but this was hands down the clear favorite in the survey question for, you know, what's one of the best smelling fall fragrances. And here we are with Enigma overseas, Creation E here in the States. It's really hard to beat. Like I said, if you like anything about how I describe the scent profile, the performance is fantastic. It's all day. It's until you take a shower. 12, 14, 16 hours into your day, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be on your skin. It has a very good sillage, definitely on the moderate side. You will get pretty strong wafts of this one for many hours, and the projection's very heavy in the first 2 hours. Like I said, that's where the Parfum Cologne fragrances kind of shine. They project heavier than the Parfums with the gold plate. This is really good stuff. Like I said, even though I prefer to wear this one in the winter, I can't knock the choice from people picking this as one of the best smelling fragrances for fall. Roja Parfums Creation E Parfum Cologne. This was actually the first answer. And then several times it got mentioned following. I'm not surprised this got chosen. Dior Sauvage Elixir. Aromatic, warm, spicy, woody, a little creamy. Such a great woody, spicy scent profile. And it's strong. Whoo, is this stuff strong. This is a nuclear performer on my skin. This will fill a room if you're the moderate to heavy spraying type. You don't need a lot of sprays of this. You can make a statement with 2, 3, 4 sprays. More in the 3 or 4 spray range. Because it projects pretty heavy and the sillage is pretty dense and strong after that projection starts to calm down. This stuff, it's 12 plus hours easily. Even people with drier skin probably get 8 to 10 hours out of this. This stuff, I can't imagine anybody getting weak performance. It's filling the area. That's all I smell right now. And I've sprayed several different fragrances. So like I said, I was not surprised this got chosen because I agree. It is one of the best smelling fall fragrances, winter fragrances, one of the best smelling releases in the last 2 years. It's awesome. I think this was such a great release. I really do. They recently came out with a 100 ml that's like $230. It's super expensive, but you're getting performance for sure because performance is very important to a lot of people. The quality's there. It doesn't completely smell like the Sauvage line. You can get a little hint of the DNA in the backdrop, but this is the most far venturing from the original scent profile of all the versions of Sauvage. But for a lot of people, it's the best one. Like I said, I'm not surprised in any way, shape, or form. This got mentioned a bunch. One of the best smelling fall fragrances, Dior Sauvage Elixir. Another one that sadly I only have a decant of, gorgeous boozy fragrance. Love the bottles. I've smelled it several times outside of my own decant. I have a few friends that have a bottle. We're talking about Kilian's Angel Share. There we go right here. And I just have just a little tiny bit left in this decant. Eventually I'll get a bottle. I've been meaning to. I've put off getting it for some time. Shame on me. But beautiful stuff. I mean, I understand why I got chosen. Quality, very boozy, fluffy, and creamy. Definitely on the more sweet side. Nice little tone of wood, but not a very woody fragrance. Like I said, it's kind of fluffy and creamy to go with this sweet, boozy tone. It's very, very, very nice. Performance is outrageous, as you would expect with a Kilian fragrance. Boozy fragrances tend to last and be pretty loud for the most part. And based on my experience with this one, like I said, I barely have any of it left. That's definitely the case. Not that I was surprised by this one getting mentioned. It's just one that shamefully I tend to forget about myself because, you know, this decant's just been kind of sitting to the side for a little while and I just forget about, hey, I'd like to get a bottle of that because there's just so many fragrances on the want list. But if you haven't tried this one yet, you probably should. Get a decant like I did and sample it. It's an expensive niche fragrance. I'm not going to sit here and say because it's so good it's blind buy safe. No, it's an expensive fragrance. You should always sample first, especially when you have the opportunity. There's so many places online to get a decant. This particular one came from SenseAngel.com for those of you curious. But, you know, again, can't knock the choice because it's such a fantastic fragrance that I still need to get a bottle of. One of the best smelling fragrances for fall, according to Instagram. It's Kilian, Angel Share. I completely agree with this one. It's one of my picks for fall as well. I featured it in my favorite spicy fragrances for fall and winter video most recently. We're talking about Bulgari's Man in Black. I mean, this is like quintessential fall at this stage. Saying it's really good for the season, it's kind of an understatement at this point. This has become a modern classic for the season. It's spicy, it's boozy, it's floral and woody. It does change. What you get in the top is completely different from the deep dry down because it becomes more about tuberose and iris, a creamy, soft, powdery floral tone. And not very powdery, lightly powdery, with a little bit of wood in the deep dry down. And like I said up top, nice dose of spice, good hit of rum. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Above average performer, but not really strong. And I mean slightly above average. 6 to 7 hours on skin. With a decent sillage, moderate to mild. And it's beautiful. Like I said, it's a modern day classic for the season. Not surprised in the least that this was chosen by several people. Several people mentioned this because some people just put one fragrance as an answer, and some people put 3 and 4 fragrances in their answer. The more the merrier, you know, and this definitely got mentioned a lot of times. One of the most mentioned fragrances, if I remember correctly. One of the best smelling for fall. I couldn't agree more with Instagram. Bulgari Man in Black. These last two are ones, just like with Creation E, that I kind of prefer personally for the winter, but depending on your climate, I don't see why you can't pull these off perfectly fine in the fall. Boss the Scent Private Accord. This is my large 200 ml bottle because I love this stuff so much. I had to get a big bottle of it a while back because this was one that I had got a carded sample of before I ever bought the bottle, so I knew I loved it. Beautiful chocolate, a little bit of roasted coffee, has that boozy sweet Manenka fruit that the line's known for, soft leather, it's a little powdery and dry. This is such a good fragrance. The trail on this one, the sillage, this is an intoxicating, super attractive fragrance that's more on the unique side, for sure. It sticks to my skin for about 8 hours. It's not a super strong projector, but the trail in this one is magical. I had a coworker buddy of mine that used to wear this. I had put him on it. He got a bottle. He used to wear it all the time in the fall and winter. This one particular year that I'm thinking of, back in like 2019, I want to say. And I used to love walking in Matt's trail. This stuff was really good on him. I love how it smells on me too. Like I said, I typically like to reach for this one in the winter. I will be reaching for this one this coming winter. That's kind of the only time I wear it. But I can't knock people choosing it for the fall because it's just such a good fragrance. If it's milder weather, absolutely works. It's not too heavy for mild weather. It just does even better in the cold, in my personal opinion. According to Instagram, one of the best smelling fragrances for fall is Boss the Scent Private Accord. Last but not least, this fragrance makes me think of Christmas. But it's one of the most popular designer tobacco fragrances pretty much ever. Burberry London. It's my little 30 ml bottle. I very seldom wear this one, and when I do, it's usually so good. It's usually in the winter because, like I said, it smells like Christmas to me. It's got that kind of piney green feel to it. A little bit of sweet tobacco going on. It's a little earthy. Like I said, it gives me that feeling of Christmas for me personally. But, you know, not the most mentioned for this survey, but mentioned enough to make the video. And like I said, a little surprised because I know a lot of people kind of feel like I do. They relate it more to Christmas time and the winter, but apparently there's enough people that say, hey, no, damn that TLTG. This is one of the best smelling fall fragrances, and you better put this in the video. Because that's how I took it, because enough people mentioned it to make sure it made its way in. Like I said, again, just like with the last one, even though I prefer it in the winter, I can't knock the choice because it's timeless for cooler weather in general, let alone specifically fall or winter. This is good stuff. Not something I would recommend rushing out to get, but if you'd like to see what all the nostalgia picks are about, because a lot of people, this is a nostalgia pick for them, get a small bottle, you know, get a little 30 ml like this. You get 30 mls for cheap, goes a long way. It's a decent performer. You don't need a lot of sprays. Quintessential Christmas time for me personally, but according to Instagram, one of the best smelling fragrances for fall is Burberry London. Well, that is the picks, the best smelling fall fragrances according to everybody that answered the question in my IG stories on Instagram. I mean, like I said, a lot of these I cannot argue with. I actually can't argue with any of these picks. There are a few that I prefer more for the winter, but hey, all is fair. Wasn't my choices. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. Do you agree with these picks? What would you have chosen had I asked YouTube instead of Instagram? Would you prefer that moving forward I start asking in a community post on YouTube more? Would you guys like to be surveyed? Because some of you answered this survey in Instagram. I prefer to do the Instagram stuff. It kind of, you know, something different on a different platform. So make sure you're following me on Instagram at tltg.reviews if you want to jump in on stuff like this. And on occasion, I may do this on YouTube as well, but it's predominantly surveyed on Instagram. And you never know when I'm going to get in the mood to ask the question, and I'd love to hear your answers, especially in the comments. What would you have chosen? Just give me one best smelling fall fragrance. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of IG's choices, You give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me and Instagram later. Have a good one, guys.